Go so hard they still discredit my talent. Alright, so today we're going to break down Polo G's track Distraction, so let's jump right into it. First things first, the tempo for this one is 157 beats per minute, and the main instrument in this track is a guitar sound, and anytime there's a guitar in it, I sort of get a little bit worried when I'm using Logic stock plugins, because Logic plugins are great, the stock ones are incredible, but when it comes to their guitars, I wish the samples were a little bit better, but here is my best attempt at recreating that guitar sound from Distraction. All right, so the first track here is a textural electric guitar preset that can be found under Legacy, Logic, Guitars, Electric Guitars, Textural Electric. I didn't really use the plugins that loaded up by default, so I changed that up, but this is what it sounds like on its own. So this is the foundation to the whole guitar sound. Basically, what's really important to the sound here is the amp right over here. The amp gives it a lot more presence and just makes it stand out a little bit more. And then we have a flanger that is also important to this guitar sound. It makes it nice and wide, so without. Kind of gives it like a dreamier type of vibe. And then we just got the usual stuff, some reverb and some EQ work over here. The second guitar sound is meant just to add in some top end to the first guitar. That's using Logic's Legacy, Logic, Guitars, Electric Guitars, Beatnik Guitar. It's sort of like this twangy type of guitar, just sits on top of the other one, just to give it some more sort of texture to the top end. See without, with. Then we're going to go ahead and add in a little bit more texture, but not so much on the higher end, but so much so on the lower end. It's this one right over here. So this preset can be found also under Legacy, Logic, Guitars, Warp Guitars, and Swamp Donbro or Dobro. And once again, all together. So those two guitars right there is just mainly just to give the electric guitar sound a little bit more of a unique sound. And I tried my best to match the one in the original track. It's not quite there, but using stock plugins, there you go. Next up, you got the drums over here, and this is what they sound like on their own. So you got a clap on the threes. You got a snare to offset it. Got two hi-hat patterns. Here's one. The second one. .808. For the 808 in the track, the 808 is a little bit more of a snappier 808, sort of hits and then sort of dies out pretty quickly. So for that, the original sample on this one was a longer 808. To see how that rings out. An easy way to sort of really control the shape of your drum sounds in Logic, if you're using Quick Sampler, you could just bring this out knob over here, or the out point, sample end, and just drag it and use the crossfade tool over here to really shape your sample to get the sort of exact attack and release point of your samples. See, that's pretty much the way it is in the track. Before, it's just this really long sort of 808. So if you're finding your drum samples not too punchy and sort of getting lost in the mix, you might want to just shorten up the samples a bit, make it a little bit snappier, and that will sort of pull it out of the mix a little bit by just making it a little bit faster hitting rather than dragging out long and sort of clashing with the other sounds that are happening at that point that's playing through in the track. And finally, on top of that 808, we have a kick. Just sitting on top of the 808. Now, in order to get that kick to sort of sit on top of the 808 and punch through the mix, I used a plugin called Duckout by yours truly. If you're using Duckout yourself, you know what it's all about. This is the new look for it. The update will be dropping soon, so stay tuned for that. For this one, I used the new algorithm that's going to be included within Duckout in this update called Happy Kick 808. The preset name is pretty much tells what it is. It just makes the kick and the 808 live happily together. So see how the kick, you can really clearly, distinctly hear the 808 and the kick together. They're not clashing. Without it, they kind of clash together. So this is just a one knob type of plugin and just really gets your basically two elements in your track to live together nicely. I'm using the Happy Kick 808 preset, just bringing in the kick on the side chain over here. That's pretty much it for the drums. And then we got the effect sound right over here. That 808 Mafia Kill Bill siren sound. And then we get the vocal chops. Anytime you're trying to recreate vocal chops is very hard because vocals are very unique. So for this one, I just sampled the vocal chops from the track itself. I'm guessing this is from some sort of loop-based instrument with vocals on it. If you know where this vocal chop came from, let us know down in the comments below. But this is what it sounds like here after I sampled it. So the guitar is a little bit in there. It's hard to sort of remove that from the vocals because they're sort of living in the same frequencies. But I just sort of put that in there so we get the full idea of the track. And then in the verse part, I also heard the vocal chops in and out as well. And so I took the same sample over here. I filtered it a little bit more aggressively using, you can see it right here. So it's a lot more aggressive on the verses. And I used another instance of Duckout to give it that sort of choppy type of vibe. This time I'm using the pump mode on Duckout and using shape 1 with a 1/2 speed. So it's kind of giving it that pumping effect, just to kind of go in and out and adds movement to the sound as well. So those are the vocal chops, and that's pretty much the entire beat. It just loops itself and instruments come in and out. So sit back, relax, and enjoy, and take a listen to Polo G's Distraction remade in Logic Pro. Right there is Polo G's Distraction remade in Logic Pro. For you Logic users out there, I'll place the entire session for you as a downloadable link in the description box below this video. I'll also include the play pack. It will include the drum kit, the MIDI stems, and the audio stems. You can find that play pack down below the like button as well. If you do have any questions on this or just want to chat, let's go and talk in the comment section below. I hope you have a fantastic morning, day, evening, night, whenever you find yourself watching this video, and I'll catch you on the next one. Later.